The memories and Thanksgiving continue today on Chris Fabry Live as we celebrate radio drama. In less than a week, Moody Radio turns 100 years old. Can you believe it? And all this month, we've been celebrating the voices, the hearts, the men and women who were visionaries and whose shoulders we stand on. Today at the Radio Backyard Fence, we celebrate the pioneers of radio drama who had a vision for telling stories and what those stories can do in hearts and lives. Don't miss the members of the original Sugar Creek Gang who are still walking down the road. We'll hear from them and many others straight ahead on the program From the Heart to the Heart for the Heart. Online, chrisfabrylive.org. Thanks to Ryan McConaughey doing all things technical. Trisha's in the producer chair. Lisa is helping out. Josh will be answering your calls. A special thanks to Phil Shepard for getting us the audio we're going to play today from the archives. Phil and Kevin Mungans have put together a pictorial history of Moody Radio, the people behind the microphones through the years. And they have woven a story in this book that shows the faithfulness of God through those men and women and through the listeners who have supported us for 100 years. You would not have heard the drama produced by Moody Radio without the support of listeners in the 1930s and 40s and 50s and beyond. And I want to send you a copy of this book, but we need to hear from you soon and very soon. This offer is up at the end of next week. So call or click through, give a gift. I want you to have This Is Moody Radio, 100 years proclaiming the gospel. 866-95-FABRY's the number, 866-953-2279. Or go to chrisfabrylive.org. Scroll down. You'll see how you can give a gift of any size or become a Backfence partner with us if you'd like to do that. The website, chrisfabrylive.org. And thanks for your support at the Radio Backyard Fence.
It's the Sugar Creek Gang walking down the road. The Sugar Creek Gang that we all know. They're our gang, they're our guys. The Sugar Creek Gang.
That's what alleys are for, to put the garbage in.
Oh, and I just shined my shoes.
I think we go this way. That must be the... Oh!
What?
Be careful, don't step there.
What is it?
Oh, Bill, it's awful.
What?
It's a body.
This Sugar Creek Gang series was based on characters from the Sugar Creek Gang books by Paul Hutchins.
Ladies and gentlemen, direct from Sugar Creek and that cliffhanger in those green fields of the mind, here are three members of the gang. They haven't aged a bit. We have Big Jim, Just Plain Bill, and Dragonfly, also known as Larry Shackley, Jon Gauger, and Kim Rasmussen. Gentlemen, welcome, and welcome from Sugar Creek. How's everything down at the creek today?
Well, it's a little cooler now, and we're hoping that the rain won't come.
That's Dragonfly. Big Jim, what do you say?
Oh, hey, Chris. It's really good to be here. I just love being in charge of the gang and bossing everybody around.
What do you say, Just Plain Bill?
Oh, I miss Mr. Paddler. I haven't seen him around for a long time.
He's in the next segment.
Okay, so give me a fond memory you have of Sugar Creek. Big Jim, let me start with you.
Well, I came in, I think, Kim, weren't you a part of the original cast?
Yes, I was. Came in the late 70s.
Yeah, and I was a student at Wheaton, and I found out there was going to be an audition for a part, and I went down to audition. So I joined the cast after it had already been going, and the guy I replaced was a guy named Adrian Smith, but his real name was Adrian Zmed. And he went on to star on T.J. Hooker with William Shatner, and really? And I got to be in the Sugar Creek Gang, which was much more fun.
Okay, Jon Gauger, and I'll introduce all our guests. They're more than just the Sugar Creek Gang, but Jon, your talent, you do a lot of writing, you do music and all of this. But there was somebody who saw you and saw your talent. Who was that?
Mike Kellogg, and that's my most memorable moment about Sugar Creek Gang, the audition. I went into his office, having been warned by phone, we don't hire students. I was a Moody student at the time. I said, yeah, but I think I could try. We don't hire students. We use professional actors. Well, but please, could I try? All right. So I showed up and read this script I was real proud of that I'd written. And he was somewhat critical of the script after I'd read a little bit. And I got up and he said, where are you going? So I thought we were done.
This was Mike Kellogg?
Yeah. And he says, well, I don't really care for your script, but you act rather well. You're hired. So that was my start.
Fantastic.
I don't remember my audition, but I know I was part of the Moody staff already. I was working in another department, and he was looking for. I'm sure I read something for him, and he decided to use me. So I was grateful.
Okay, so there is one name that's going to come up. Mike Kellogg is a very important name at Moody Radio and Moody Drama. I'm going to shift gears and go from the Sugar Creek Gang over to Europe in the snows and find the treasures of the snow, because Kim, you're in this scene and it's rather a dramatic scene. I'm going to play this. I want to have you respond. This is number 9, Ryan, if I didn't tell you that. This is from Treasures of the Snow.
How could that be? Just one moment. Stay, Lucian. We'll talk more.
Madame Morel.
Annette Bernier. Annette. What a surprise.
Madame Morel, is Lucian here?
Oh, no. Oh, yes, of course. Come in. Lucian, Annette is here.
Lucian, have you seen Danny? He was supposed to be home hours ago. We thought maybe you might have seen him this afternoon. Remember when we saw you...
Is something wrong, Annette?
Danny hasn't come home and... Lucian, you have seen him, haven't you? I can tell, the way you look. Where is he? Where is he?
Lucian, you look ill. Lucian, did something happen to Danny?
Lucian, what happened?
Oh, let go of my arm. You're hurting me, Annette.
Tell me.
Annette, let go of him.
Ow!
I said let go of him.
He'd better tell us. He'd better all kill him.
Annette, enough.
Keep her away from me.
Lucian, look at me. Look at me. Have you seen Danny? Have you?
It wasn't my fault. It wasn't.
What wasn't your fault?
Lucian, speak at once. Where is Danny?
He's...
Tell us.
My father will call the constable if you don't tell. He will.
No.
Annette, be quiet. Lucian, please.
He's dead.
Dead?
But it's not my fault. It's not my fault.
No.
I swear it's not my fault.
That's another part of all the dramas was the music. Some of it was orchestral, like we're hearing here, and other music was new music. It was composed for the dramas. So, Kim, as you hear that, taking you way back, decades.
That is way back. It was a pivotal scene in the story, and I remember Dave McAllister when we were recording it. That was one of the, as I look back, that was really only one of the times where I really acted, and it was helpful to me. And David also said he loved that scene too.
Yeah. Now the question is, and I don't remember what happened to Danny, but was that him over in the Sugar Creek? Larry, do you remember? Was that Danny by the Sugar Creek and the body that they saw?
Yeah, he was floating down the creek.
No, he wasn't.
One thing that we didn't get to hear with Treasures of the Snow, which was recorded after I was on staff, so sometime in the late 70s, they hired an announcer, a Chicago area announcer named Alan Keyes, who was a big barrel-chested man. I get a voice like this. He had this amazing bass voice, and they got him to come in and do the narrations for Treasures of the Snow. Isn't that right, Kim? Wasn't that Alan?
That's right, yeah.
That one?
Yeah, somehow Mike got him in, yeah. He was the guy that did the Memorex commercials.
Really?
And he did commercials for Ravinia and other stuff. But the radio dramas, when we were doing them in the 70s, involved a lot of people from Goodman Theater downtown, as well as older people who had actually acted in Chicago-based network soap operas in the 40s. If you've ever seen the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray, there's a scene where he takes this poor old man into a diner and buys him some soup. And the old man with these arthritic hands is eating his soup. That was Les Podwell. He used to act with us on Sugar Creek Gang and Stories Great Christians.
That's right.
Let me tell you a story about Les Podwell. He was in the studio a lot, and I was in a session, and we always would do a read-through in what's called Studio A, and they had desks like school desks, that little flop-down desk panel thing. And as Larry has mentioned, Les had severe arthritis. He had a cup of coffee that he was nursing. I was seated uncomfortably close to Les as we did this read-through, and at one point, his little gnarled hands could no longer hold the cup properly, and he dumped coffee, scalding all over me at this read-through. Never got over that one.
There's a lot of behind-the-scenes stories. And if you are an aficionado of Moody Radio and you heard the dramas through the years, I've got good news for you. You can walk down memory lane. There's a way to still hear those. Or if you're listening today and you say, why can't I hear those? You can. And I'll tell you more about that. We're talking about radio drama and Moody Radio. I'd love to send you a copy of this book. This is Moody Radio. It's our thank you this month. Go to the website, chrisfabrylive.org. Scroll down. You'll see how you can get a copy of that by sending a gift of any size. chrisfabrylive.org. Don't miss our next segment straight ahead on Moody Radio.
What's that?
Say, the thing talks.
Sure, I'm the listening post.
The listening post?
Yep. For years and years I've stood in this spot. I've seen much. I've heard much. And in my old wooden heart are stories.
Hi, boys and girls. Our book is Little House on the Prairie, and it's written by Laura Ingalls Wilder. It's published by Harper & Row. The Ingalls family arrived safely in Kansas, and Pa is building a log house. One day, when Ma was helping him,
that voice is so welcome. Her name is Flo Schmid, and she read stories, and it took you to another place. And there's somebody on the line right now who knows that voice. Her name is Lisa Helm. Lisa, what goes on in your heart when you hear that voice?
I love hearing that voice. That must have been an early one because she sounds really young in that clip, and takes me back to the lunch table where we would hear the stories, my four sisters and I, not on the radio, but in person. So it's wonderful to hear her voice again.
So you and your husband, who's a pastor, serve at Christ Church Chicago. You have a BA from Wheaton College, and Flo was your mom. And did you also, though, were part of Moody Radio Dramas, right?
I was. I had the wonderful opportunity, even as a grade schooler, to come down and fill some roles on various radio dramas and do a few programs on my own. So it was a real experience. Loved it.
Yeah. And what is your memory of being part of Moody Radio Drama? What did it do in you to be a part of that?
Well, it oddly gave me a love for the city, and eventually moved there myself as an adult. So driving down the Eisenhower Expressway into Moody on those Saturday mornings, various times, it made me love the skyline, love the city. And so that was one thing. But as far as actual experience with all the people, all the other actors, it was like a family, I have to say. Those older actors took such interest even in the kids, encouraging us, giving us tips and helping us get better at radio drama.
See if you can hear Lisa's young voice in this.
Hello? Hello, Lisa. This is Mark. Can you come right over to our house? It's time for Adventures in Music. Yes, Mark. I'll be right over. Hello, my name is Mark Shaughnessy. I'm his brother, John.
And I'm Lisa Schmid. We're your hosts for Adventures in Music, which is produced by the Moody Bible Institute in Chicago.
Today, we're going to listen to the first part of Peter and the Wolf by Sergei Prokofiev.
Look at that. Lisa, a lot of years ago, right?
Oh my goodness, I have not heard that in decades. It's amazing to hear. Love it.
Yeah. Larry, now you worked with Adventures in Music as well. Is that true?
That's right, very much at the tail end. The genius behind Adventures in Music was a man named Larry Moran, who was one of the top call voice talents in Chicago. If you lived in Chicago in the 70s and 80s, you heard Larry on every radio station, doing, he'd had 1,000 voices. He would do commercials. And he even had a little, Lisa, do you remember he had a little notebook? And if he came up with a new voice, he would write it in there. Like, this is the voice that I did for this. And he wrote
so
almost
talented,
all the scripts.
Yeah.
And funny and just kind and generous to everybody. You'd never know that he was like raking in the money like crazy because he was just a down-to-earth guy, And so he wrote most of the scripts. They were all based on classical music, and they needed to round off. They needed a total of 65 scripts because you needed 65 to have 13 weeks of 5 a day. So I wrote the last 5, but I mean, Larry was in those and Lisa was in those. So that was my only touch with it, was at the very end.
Larry was also the voice of Captain Crunch for a long years.
Yeah, Larry,
and go ahead, John.
Yeah, Larry was the son in Kellogg's Raisin Bran. He was the very first McDonald's Monopoly Man voice. He was just all these national spot campaigns, voiceovers for television and radio, as Larry Shackley has well stated.
Yeah. Okay,
well,
so
go ahead.
Here's a clip of Larry. I want you to listen to this, and then, Larry, I want you to respond to it. Larry Moran in, I believe, Stories of Great Christians. This is him as D.L. Moody.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Famous evangelist is dead. D.L. Moody is dead. Extra, extra, read all about it. Dwight Lyman Moody dies.
Someday, you will read in the newspapers that D.L. Moody of East Northfield is dead. Don't you believe a word of it. At that moment, I shall be more alive than I am now. I shall have gone up higher, that is all. Out of this old clay tenement into a house that is immortal. A body death cannot touch, that sin cannot taint, a body fashioned like unto his glorious body. I was born in the flesh in 1837. I was born in the spirit in 1856. That which is born of the flesh may die. That which is born of the spirit will live forever.
What an instrument Larry had and the way he used it. All right, Larry Shackley, respond to that.
Well, that's a very dramatic role for Larry. He played a lot of character parts because his voice was so flexible. But for those of us who knew him, it's just like with Rex Brenner, who was our director and also was in the Sugar Creek Gang. there's a certain quality in his voice, a little edge to it, that if you knew it, you could always spot him when a new commercial would come on. He said, "That's Larry." He could be doing a funny little voice, or something serious like D.L. Moody. But there was always, Larry was always in there,
Yeah.
He was a great guy.
John, any memories that you have of working with Larry?
Well, he was very instructive. At the time, I really idolized Larry and all these other actors, and I'm just 19 and hungry to learn everything. And nobody was more gracious than Larry Moran. And so I tried to be like him. I created a little demo tape and all those sorts of things that Larry was doing. And just as Larry Shackley has pointed out, very kind and gracious and willing to share everything about the craft.
Yes.
And he was funny, too. He always had a joke in mind,
He was crazy. He could ad lib like Jonathan Witters. I mean, he had that kind of wit.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Lisa, were there lessons that you learned in the studio that you still keep with you today?
Ooh, good question. Well, one is Larry and Dave McAllister worked really hard with us to not say Chicago. They said, brought to you WMBI in Chicago. We had to keep saying that to drill it down. That's a superficial one. But I just think that graciousness is a really good word. To be gracious as you instruct other people. These other actors were helpful. They were kind. They were generous. And it was very collegial. And that's something you take with you in other areas of life, for sure.
Could I jump in with a practical illustration? As far as learning the craft goes, I learned from these other actors, if you have a scene in which you're exerting a lot of physical strength, you're lifting up a body or a rock or a boulder, or you're trying to move a tree in the road, they went all in physically doing it, and they would smack their own jackets or whatever they were wearing. and I thought, oh, that's how it's done. You can't just hold a little script and pretend everybody's going to think it's that. They actually did it. I thought, okay, we go whole hog, even when we're lifting a tree or a boulder,
And when you're doing this on radio, all you have is your voice and the sound effects around you to convey that. You don't have the pictures like you do in film and TV, right, Kim?
Right. I learned a lot from Larry as well, and all the other actors we worked with. Mary Skoll, I remember.
She was wonderful.
Tony Makis, both senior and junior. And Edie Fisher, Don Stroop, Mary Staver, who was also in Treasures of the Snow. Really, really fine craftsman.
Yeah. Larry, talk about those sound effects.
Oh, the sound effects. That was one of my favorite things. We had two sources of sound effects. One of them was records. And if you had your copy of This Is Moody Radio, and if you turn to page 122, you can see Bob Neff, who was at one time a vice president of Moody. They're running these sound effects records. And there's another picture on 128 with John McComb, who did sound effects for years. But anyway, it says in the book he's putting LP records on. No, they weren't. They were old 78 RPM records from the 40s and 50s that we still had. And so there were 3 turntables and multiple tone arms. So if you needed to have, let's say, an inside the car sound effect of the motor running and you're talking, and the record is running out, you could put one of the other tone arms out at the beginning of the record and then pick it back up from there. And then we also had we had a beautiful thing, and maybe John built it. It was a door, an actual full-size door for the door sound effects. We had another little thing that had all sorts of manners of doorbells and buzzers and stuff on it. And we had a cash register, and we had little trays of gravel and sand that you could do footsteps in. And my favorite thing was a big bucket of pieces of glass that you could break if you needed to sound of glass breaking for something. And the little thing that you would turn with a piece of leather on it, and it made the creaking door sound. They were great.
Well, and fire sound
yeah.
effects. I've got a clip of Rex. Maybe we'll play that in the next segment. Rex as John Huss, or as Dr. Lutzer pronounces it, Huss, because it rhymes with goose, at being burnt at the stake. And we might hear that. And Larry very aptly said, page 122, if you want to get a copy of This is Moody Radio, 100 Years Proclaiming the Gospel, I'd love to send it to you. Just go to chrisfabrylive.org, scroll down, see how you can give a gift of any size. We'll send it to you. chrisfabrylive.org. More straight ahead. We continue now with Big Jim, Just Plain Bill, and Dragonfly of the Sugar Creek Gang, and also known as Larry Shackley, Jon Gauger, and Kim Rasmussen. You can find out more about them at chrisfabrylive.org. You can also hear some of the dramas that we're talking about on Moody Radio at moodyaudio.com. There's a section called For Kids. A lot of the dramas are there. Just go to chrisfabrylive.org and moodyaudio.com, which has a lot of these dramas. Sugar Creek Gang is going to be linked at the website too. So if you go to chrisfabrylive.org and scroll down, you'll see the book that Larry Shackley just talked about, Big Jim. This is Moody Radio, 100 Years Proclaiming the Gospel, and it's our thank you this month. Would love to put that in your hands. You can find out more at chrisfabrylive.org. In this clip, I want you to hear 4 different voices. The first one is Myron Canaday, who we would not be talking about Moody Radio without him. And he's kind of telling the story of how he got to WMBI in Chicago. And then you're going to hear Jim Warren on Primetime America, who that day was paying tribute to Myron Canaday, who had just passed away at 79 years of age. Here is Myron.
Robert Parsons came up to go through the clinic to get a checkup, and he was staying with George Edstrom. And George had the news on at 10 o'clock one night, and I was giving the news. And Mr. Parsons said, that fella has a good radio voice. And George said, you know who that is? That's one of my boys. So the next morning, Parsons came over to interview me and talk to me about coming to Moody Bible Institute and work at WMBI. And so as of January 1st, 1944, I came to work at Moody.
And Bill Pierce, the rest is history, because he really was outstanding. How do you see him as a co-worker and a fellow laborer, Bill?
Well, you know, I was impressed after not hearing him on the air or anywhere for so long, that his voice is very easy to listen to, very friendly, very, very compelling, and it's so flexible. The inflections are there, it's alive, yet it's not oppressive, you know. And I could see how he would fit into various kinds of characters. He just had a
which he did.
Talent.
Speaking of someone else who was with him in characters, Russ Reed joins us, freelance actor and announcer, of course, par excellence in Chicago. Russ, some of your memories of Myron, you were with him in a number of dramas, weren't you?
Yes, Myron and I worked on several things up at WMBI. Hi, Bill, first of all.
Hi, Russ. Good to hear from you, sir.
Thank you, friend. Same here. Jim, Myron always struck me as a man, and I tried to talk him into it every once in a while, of trying to make a living in professional radio. But he said, I've got a profession, and it's a higher one. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't agree with him more. He was a fine talent, Jim. He had warmth, as Bill just suggested, in his voice, but he also had dignity. I don't think I ever heard him make a mistake.
I know. He was a one-take man, wasn't he, Bill? You know?
Yes, he was also good with the editing razor.
Oh, was he?
He would work hours in his little office there. It looked like a closet.
Oh, I remember that.
Making sure that everything was perfect. It wasn't so much mistakes as he was taking out any extraneous noises or whatever may have happened.
Yeah. Well, many of us may remember Stories of Great Christians and Myron Kennedy acting out D.L. Moody's famous Gap speech.
Yeah.
For the past 25 years, I've been doing evangelistic work. And there's one idea that continues to follow me wherever I go in city evangelism. We need a training school for our workers so they can be educated properly in the English Bible and be able to answer every question put to them. I call you fellow Christian workers the gap men. You fill the gap for trained people to fit in the gap between the laity and the ministers. I know you've been doing well with the help of Miss Emma Dreyer, Dr. Edmund, Mr. Blackstone, Mr. Revell, and other faithful helpers. But we must do better. We must push it.
So you heard Larry Moran as D.L. Moody, and that was Myron Kennedy, along with Jim Warren, Bill Pierce, and Russ Reed. Isn't that a kick, Jon Gauger, to hear those voices again?
And again, these voices were all very well known, widely heard, not just in Chicago, but most of them throughout the country. Russ Reed, my goodness, and Larry Moran, the voice of so many national characters and advertising campaigns of all kinds.
And Russ Reed was in a number of Christian films as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a lot of history. Larry, as you listen to all this, what's rolling around your soul now?
Oh, it's just wonderful to hear it all again. And the story I was going to tell earlier that it came back to me is in the 60s, my family was able to go downtown on a Sunday for a KYB Club tape, which was Aunt Teresa Warman's kids show. And that was one of the shows. I didn't listen to Sailor Sam or Ranger Bill when I was a kid, but I did listen to the KYB Club. And they had a weekly serial called The Bangles, and it was a family. And so I was so much looking forward to seeing the Bangles. And so, because I always had pictures in my mind of what they were doing, what they looked like. And so they said, now it's time for the Bangles. And the organist played a little thing. And then these people just got up and stood by a microphone and read from a script. And I thought, where are the Bangles? I want to see them doing something. So my first experience of radio drama was very, very disappointing. But that was the same studio where John and Kim and I did the Sugar Creek Gang a decade or more later. What a great time. We were really the only active radio drama being produced at the time. Later on, Focus on the Family came in, but Moody was the source for radio drama.
We've just heard these great clips of these people, and Chris, one of the things that they all shared in common, I noticed, was that they carefully marked their scripts with a pencil. They didn't just, look at that script, turn on the mic, and go. It was prepped. They understood where they were going to breathe, what was going to be emphasized, what was not going to be emphasized. And again, as a young guy, I was watching that too. Kim, I'm sure you were too.
Great learning tool.
Larry, we saw all those things, didn't we?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we also learned never turn your pages holding it right in front of the microphone.
That's right.
And you always take the staple out,
right,
so that you don't have to flip the pages. You just pull the top page off and kind of put it behind your back.
Yeah.
Kim, you were part of Unshackled, and still are in dramas there probably, for many years. I remember Jack O'Dell, at the old Lighthouse, that long-running Unshackled. It wasn't produced by Moody, but you've been a part of that, and other voices that we've heard about.
Yeah, over 40 years I was involved with Unshackled.
Wow.
Both acting, and then later on, that was my last full-time job where I recorded and edited the program.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have not heard, we've heard the name, but we have not heard the voice of Rex Brenner. And Rex is one of the linchpins as far as when I came to Moody and saw he and worked with Mike Kellogg and with drama in the early days. And I want you to hear a little bit of his voice. This is from the Stories of Great Christians, the episode of John Huss, where he is basically burnt at the stake for his faith. And I want you to listen to the sound effect of the fire and see if you know what the fire is. Here's Rex.
See, all right. Round you go. To the west. Yeah. I'll slip the chain up. And around. There. Proper and fitting for a heretic. To the west.
The Elector Palatine is stepping forward now, and the crowd in the meadow quiets quickly. The Elector walks up to the stake, driven onto the soft ground of the meadow. And he stands looking at John Huss, bound to it. And he says,
"Will you recant? God is my witness. I never taught or wrote those things. I had only one purpose in everything, to save men dying in sin. So, I gladly seal that gospel truth. Seal it with my death if I must. No, I will not recant." You may proceed. Oh, Christ, thou Son of the living God, have mercy on me. Thou Son of the living God.
From Stories of Great Christians. Okay, did you hear the fire? Did you hear that sound effect? It sounds like fire, right? It wasn't really fire, though. In that sound effect cabinet back there, John, I don't think that was record. It wasn't a long, 78 RPM. What was that?
That would have been cellophane, a stiff cellophane, really? Clear as you might use in wrapping a gift or something like that, of a thick kind, yeah.
Yeah.
And there were other things like that. I don't think they sell cornstarch in a box anymore, but Larry Shackley and Kim will both remember a box of Argo cornstarch in the sound effects closet, and you squeezed it and a little bit puffed out, but most of it stayed in, and it sounded, if you worked it right with your hands, like footsteps in the snow. It literally sounded like footsteps in the snow.
Exactly. I love the old telephone. The old telephone that was the dial telephone, and the ringing of it. Okay, Larry, go ahead.
And we had various bells and stuff. Rex could do all sorts of voices, but he was the primo villain of all time. And now on Sugar Creek, he was always kindly Mr. Paddler. But if you listen to reruns of Sailor Sam and Ranger Bill, Rex was like 100 different villains. And my favorite one was on Sailor Sam one time. He is, "I am king of the scorpion people." But if you're on Facebook, there's a guy who runs a Ranger Bill Facebook page. And almost on a daily basis, he posts a link to an old Ranger Bill episode, which features Myron Canaday as two parts. Bill Pierce is the narrator. But Rex is frequently the villain. So I always go through and try to find Rex, and then I'll put a little note on the Facebook page. Check out Rex, pretending to be a Frenchman at 20 minutes. Because he had all sorts of accents and things that he would do. He did Swedish ones.
This is so much fun. You shouldn't be allowed to have this much fun, but we are having it with my pals, Kim and Larry and John here at the Radio Backyard Fence. Lisa has been with us, and I'm so glad that you're here. And if this is stirring some memories for you, go to the website, chrisfabrylive.org. We have that book. This is Moody Radio, 100 Years Proclaiming the Gospel, featured resource, and our thank you today. I'd love to put this in your hands, but hurry. Next week, this offer ends next week. Just go to chrisfabrylive.org. More straight ahead on Moody Radio.
The Adventures of Sailor Sam.
Hear the creak of the rigging? Listen to the wind whip the sails. Yes, boys and girls, Sailor Sam's big schooner, the Porpoise, plunges swiftly through the waves, eager to serve her master. Where's she going? Wish I could tell you, but we'll have to find out from Sailor Sam, an adventurous young man whose hunt for scientific truth takes him anywhere. Yes, anywhere. And with him go his two young cousins, Buddy and Nancy. Aye, aye, mate, it's full speed ahead now for seafaring thrills with Sailor Sam!
There's nothing like that organ, like there.
Yeah, Ralph Colburn probably.
Was it? Okay. I knew Ralph at a church up on the north side. Okay, so if you're just tuning in, we are talking about Ranger Bill and Sailor Sam and all of these great dramas that were done years and years and years ago with my pals John and Kim and Larry. And we had mentioned just a minute ago Rex Brenner. John, you had a story about Rex to tell. Go ahead.
A lot of these dramas in those days were mixed real time. What we mean by that is instead of taking time like they do now to record it on multi-track and then going back and adding sound effects and layering it and then checking all the balances, no, it was all done that day. Sound effects were added, music was added, and it was mixed together real time. Well, of course, there's a theme that you've heard to all these programs, and Rex was calling for the theme, and he wanted more theme and more theme. And imagine in your mind the mixing console. It's got, we call them faders. You've seen them. They slide up and down. And he wanted more theme, but the guy who was mixing at the time, Stan Ferris, had already run out of room. He'd given all the theme there was. And so to satisfy Rex Brenner, who was directing, he made his fingers slide over the tops of those faders upward as if he was giving more theme. And apparently the ruse worked. That's all I can say.
I could just see that. And that's the old Neve console that you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah. And there is a picture of that as well in the book on page 126.
126.
Did you have that book memorized, Larry?
Of Dave, I just went through the book looking for pictures of me, and I didn't find any, so I looked at all the other ones.
I'm not seeing the Neve on 126. You've got to. You got to.
Oh, it isn't. There's a picture of Dave McAllister sitting at the thing. I maybe got the page wrong.
We'll figure that out. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that? Oh, yeah, that's the Neve.
You look for it. Your picture. Your numbers might be different. 128.
128. Well, there's Mike Kellogg, and Dave. And we should have mentioned that Flo Schmid was also one of the kids on Sailor Sam.
That's right. She did so many voices. So many people had such versatile voices. Oh, okay. I see the Neve right there. Yeah, that was still there in the 80s before we went into the multi-track years. Can I play, would you pull up number 3? I want our friends to respond to this. This is from a drama called Little Pilgrim's Progress.
The king helped you then, and he will help us now.
But this is different.
Why?
Because we've been placed here in this dark dungeon.
Is it any darker than the Dark Valley?
But we have been beaten.
Were the beatings any worse than those at Vanity Fair, or the wounds inflicted by self?
But
we have forgotten the king. Do you think he has forgotten us? Did you not tell me that he promised he would never leave us nor forsake us?
That's it.
What?
The key.
What key?
The key of promise. Discretion gave it to me at the Palace Beautiful. She said it would unlock any door.
Oh, Christian, do you still have it?
Let me see. Well, it's here, the key!
Shh! We don't want the giant to hear. What shall we do?
It's still night. The giant must be sleeping. I think we should try it now. Oh, stupid. I've had this key all this time, and we could have been gone at once. Let's try it.
Okay.
It fits.
Turn it, Christian. Turn it.
Turn it. It works. Hopeful it works.
Thanks be to the king. Quietly. The door.
Little Pilgrim's Progress. John and Kim were right there. John, you told me in the break a story about Rex and praying. Tell me that story before we end here.
Lovely memory. Before every session, we would bring the actors together into our studio A, and we would read through all the scripts in a rehearsal. But Rex always opened every session with a prayer. He prayed. He made everybody bow their heads. A room full of mostly unsaved secular actors who were praying and hearing the gospel from Rex. He never feared. He never flinched. He never failed. And so I salute Rex Brenner in that great memory.
Yeah. Last thought from you, Larry, Big Jim. What do you say?
Well, I'm just grateful to have had that opportunity. Like John, I was brought in by Mike Kellogg and Rex Brenner and had a chance to work with these other guys and these other actors we talked about for several years. And it was a great learning experience. And I'm glad that those things are still out there for people to enjoy.
Yeah, moodyaudio.com, or just go to chrisfabrylive.org. We've got a link for you right there. Kim, last thought from you. What do you say?
Well, I was happy to benefit others with our talents and also learn spiritual principles from Moody Radio Drama. And it really helped me in my spiritual life.
And I call him Snarky because you were in the Mulehole Mystery series.
Right.
You were Snarky in that series. So Snarky, thanks for being with us today. What great fun. Friends, go to chrisfabrylive.org. You can see more. Lisa has joined us today, and John and Kim and Larry. Get a copy of the book. I'd love to send it your way. This is Moody Radio, chrisfabrylive.org. Our program's production of Moody Radio, a ministry of Moody Bible Institute.